Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of the UK Connection. It is Saturday. Could be various times on your Saturday. It's 2 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock their time. Of course, the they being Simon Bray and Steven Reid. Welcome, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Good evening, good afternoon, hello, welcome, and all that kind of stuff.
All that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff. We're ready to, it seems like we haven't done one of these episodes in a while. Has it been a while?
Way, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't ranked the songs on a classic album in a couple of months, I think. Well, we picked a good one today, right? Holy Diver, Dio. Love it, yeah. There it is. A classic debut. I'm remiss. I didn't pull mine down because I knew these guys would have it. So I was like, yeah, there you go. There you go. Get that chain, twirl it around. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But before we start talking about rearranging the Holy Diver album, because that's essentially what we're doing here, we have a little bit of business to take care of first. Simon, get us started, please, if you would.
Okie dokie. Yes, indeed. I have just pulled out a Liberation Ale. Oh, God, I really don't know where my camera is this week. There we go. Liberation Ale. Yay. It's there, isn't it? I'm not looking. I don't like it. Yes, indeed. As you can see, it's got Monty on the front. Yay. Oh, Jesus. Yes.
Who's Monty? I'm going to start asking these questions.
You really should. Field Marshal Montgomery, who led the troops in Alamein, didn't he?
Yep. Yeah. Yes, he did.
Historical perspective. Okay, great.
Very famous England.
I'm educated now.
Englander, yes, indeed.
I will no longer be just the dumb American who doesn't ask any questions and just.
I think that's Eisenhower that's with him, Dwight D. Eisenhower. Yes, Stephen.
Oh, yes, it is.
I'm going to put my hand up now and insist if we're going to go back to World War II that we call them British.
Yes, okay.
Not just English. Come on now.
He is English, though, because he's buried down there.
He was English, yes. Let's go even further than that and say that he was leading the Allied troops.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
There we go.
Yes, indeed. And Liberation Ale apparently has a hint of blackcurrant in it, which I didn't get from that first swig. So...
What does it look like, Simon? Hold that up to the camera.
Looks like that.
Oh, there you go. That's classic.
It was quite light.
There. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm definitely going to give it a 3.3 recurring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I might change as the evening wears on.
Fair enough. Well, I think I've done a Cairngorms beer before. Cairngorms being a mountain range just north of me. And this one is the Wildcat, which is, funnily enough, a wildcat that is native to Scotland. I think it was endangered. It's been kind of re-established. It is, well, it just says pure Scottish style is what it says. It doesn't really actually give you a great detail as to what it is in that sense. It says it's a deep amber-coloured beer with a complex malt, fruit and hop flavour. Okay, and it is 5.1%. Not convinced it's the best drawing on the front ever, but it's okay. There we are. It's not quite as light as Simon's in the glass.
Oh, a little copper there. All right, cool.
Yeah, it says amber. I think it's a little bit darker than amber that I would expect.
Slightly, maybe. Yeah,
I would say. Nice head on it, which I wish I could show you because it looks a bit like semolina in my glass. Very smooth, very nice. Yeah, it's about a 3.6. Maybe understand that. Say 3.8. We're not quite in the fours, I don't think, but that's, I could drink this all evening, to be fair.
So very solid. Gotcha.
Yeah, very solid, very drinkable, very smooth. I like it.
All right, now before I have my two friends chime in here, we're going to play a little game with the folks in the chat. Okay, so everybody in the chat, 2 weeks ago, I promised something today. So I'm going to give everybody 10 seconds to type in what I promised for this episode today. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, time's up. What did I promise? Simon and Steven, what did I promise I was going to do today?
Guinness.
There we go. Yes. Well remembered, Simon. Look at you paying
In a
attention.
fancy new New York can. I didn't expect this at all when I went to the store yesterday. Look at that. Guinness Draft gives back New York. I don't know what the hell this has to do with. I'm sure it's still the same Guinness we know and love. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, classic. That's very
I had to
nice.
get a 2-pack. I was like, because they didn't sell a single. And like, I'm okay with having 2 glorious Guinness glasses. And you got the sound. Hopefully that came out on the microphone. And yes, we're going to show this bit of gloriousness. Is there anything more consistent, gentlemen, when it comes to beer than Guinness? Look at that. And you know what it's going to taste like. And it tastes great. 4.5 out of 5, always.
Oh, there's already people saying he tasted it before it settled. Oh, there's already people saying that in the comments.
That's okay. Because we don't have all day long to be sitting tasting beer. But yeah, I mean, as it settles, I mean, this is, this is as perfect as a beer gets. And it doesn't kill you, right? What's it, 150 calories and like 4.1%, 4.1, I guess, correctly. So yes,
it's the
cheers,
sort of
gentlemen.
thing that, yes, cheers. It's the sort of thing that they used to recommend as a kind of health drink.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's good.
Apropos of absolutely nothing, when we went to the Guinness brewery in Dublin about 15 years ago, and they give you free Guinness at the end. Of the 6 of us there was only one of us that liked Guinness. What a fucking great day that was. Just saying. As opposed to when you went to the Heineken brewery in Amsterdam about 8 years ago, that was amongst the most miserable experiences of my life.
I mean, I have been on some of these brewery things where you sit around and I was at one in Strathearn Distillery, and man, oh man, were we plied with gin that day. That is the most drunk I've been in probably the last 2 or 3 decades. It was just the amount of alcohol they gave us was unbelievable. Cocktails, we had it neat. They left it on the tables. It was messy, very messy. It was great fun. I mean, it was great fun. But there's the amount of people that turned up with that and said, "Oh no, I'm driving."
Driving.
We're here for like
How about
4
like
hours,
walking out the
just
front
to let
door?
you know.
You should be working.
Yeah, but it was a whole like 4-hour experience. They just kind of sat and watched everybody else get totally sozzled. It's very strange. But anyway, I digress.
So hold on one second.
Context, Simon. Do you have context?
I do. I have more context.
Will I do bump about the album first? There we go. Let's say that.
Why not? Why not?
Okay, right. So this is Holy Diver. This is the debut by the Dio band, and it was released on May the 25th in 1983 through Warner Brothers. Although, depending where you are in the world, your label may say Vertigo, as it did here. It may say Phonogram. It may say Mercury. All of those things, which kind of follow the same thing, really. Anyway, it has been certified as platinum in the US. It went silver here in the UK, which seems to indicate 60,000 units. It peaked at number 56 in the UK and 56 in the US and at 13 in the UK. It also reached 18 in Sweden, 52 in Germany, and a lowly 176 in Japan. I thought we'd be higher than that. There were 2 singles released from the album. Holy Diver, which got to number 72 in the UK and 40 in the US. Rainbow in the Dark, which got to number 46 here and 14 in the US. It was produced by Ronnie James Dio himself and very much features what I would class, and I think most of us would class, as the classic Dio lineup of Ronnie James Dio on vocals and keyboards on this album. Obviously, X of Elf and Rainbow and Black Sabbath. Vivian Campbell on guitar, X of Sweet Savage, although very much making his kind of name for himself for the rest of the world, because most people hadn't heard Sweet Savage at this stage. Jimmy Bain on bass from Rainbow and Phil Lynott, Wild Horses, Gary Moore and more. Vinnie Appice on drums, who Ronnie had worked with in Black Sabbath prior to this. And then Claude Schnell would join the band, but not until the tour for this album. As I say, Ronnie played keyboards here. And that is with a fabulous artwork, controversial for its time, I may add, of Holy Diver.
I saw them on that tour.
Oh,
loads of fun.
Nice. Yes, the Dream Evil tour was my first ever show. That was my first gig.
Nice. Very cool. So of course we're gonna rearrange this album. We're gonna rank the songs as we like them. What do you think, guys? Do two at a time and then do our final reveal for the single at the end? Is that how we usually do it? I know there's more to come, but I figure I'd,
Yeah, we can do two. Wow, that's a lot. Twos. Yeah, twos and then
God, I thought we were doing threes. Oh Christ, really? Never mind. Twos are fine. Twos are fine. We can all do a number two. Number twos are good. I know. Can we context it up now?
Yes. By the way,
sorry.
I'm very excited by this because sometimes they go that somebody pops into the comments and goes 7 hours in and they haven't spoken about Dio yet. My mission today to make that even longer. Yes, indeed. Because that's just me. You're beautiful. Right, so yeah, when let's be honest, Steven remembered that we don't just rank the songs on this stuff. We actually do the context thing. We said, well, should we do it? So I had a look at the chart and then I got that wrong, didn't I, Steve? For the 5th of June, 1983. And I decided from having looked at it that this is the most 1980s chart in the UK possible. This is so 1980s. So I'm gonna do some show and tell from the top 10, but just outside the top 10 mates, you got the Thompson twins, kind of still going. It's now Thompson twin, is it? Eurythmics, Imagination, jeez, Lee John and Imagination. I bet they made it big over there. Bonnie Tyler, Faster Than the Speed of Light, The Beat, Kajagoogoo. Seriously, you giving Kajagoogoo a thumbs up?
I like a bit of Lamal, absolutely. And Nick Beggs, come on, thumbs up for Nick Beggs.
Yeah, well, now he's the Progmaster General. I knew that was coming. The Hurting by Tears for Fears and George Benson were all just hanging around the 10. Then, so I looked at this week's top 100 albums and realised that I've got 8 of them. And from 1983, I've got 25 of them. And I've got shitloads more disposable income these days than I used to have. So there's something wrong somewhere, isn't there? And I still don't have that Saxon album that I ordered or that Magnum album that I ordered because the UK is not doing very well at the moment. So anyhow, right. So number 10 this week was Peace of Mind by Iron Maiden, which I haven't got with me, but we all know I've got it because I produced it on our Iron Maiden show. Number 9, look, I brought the show and tell. Elton John, Too Low for Zero. Yay, I can find some of these things. 8, Crises by Mike Oldfield. Give it up for me. That was so hip and happening. 7 was The Luxury Gap by Heaven 17, which obviously I don't own, but I have seen them live. Yep. But Bob Marley Confrontation was number 6. Chart Encounters of the Hit Kind. Can you see what they did? Their compilation album was number 5. Because like Close Encounters was a hit a few years early. Really? Okay. Kool and the Gang were number 4. There's no Kool and the Gang in my collection. Number 3, and this is where Mrs. Simon comes in. Gold. That's not right. True, even by Spandau Ballet. One of the people I work with, who's only 26, we were doing a quiz the other week, and she pronounced it as Spandau Ballet.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a really famous prison as well, isn't it? But anyway, let's move along. Number 2, Let's Dance, the only David Bowie album I own. And number 1, I don't know if this is mine or Mrs. Simon's, but hey, it's Toto's Thriller.
Pretty much.
It makes sense. So a very, very 1980s joint. And Dio muscled in at 13 and hung around for a while as well. So, yeah, good stuff.
Yes, it was interesting because I did say to Simon, will we do the context or will we not? Will we let those people that like to moan about how long it takes us to talk about the album actually not moan this time? And we decided that we would let them moan because I think the contrast, which is something that Simon picked up on, is really quite stark here. It's interesting, Pete, because when we watch a lot of the shows that you do and when you've been on with us, you often talk about like the radio playing these songs and, you know, the rock that you would hear when you were kicking about and all this kind of kicking about, a bit Scottish, but you know what I mean, out with your friends and whatever it may be. We didn't have that. It really didn't exist over here. I mean, you maybe got like a heavy metal song on top of the pops once every 2 months, if you were lucky. If something was riding high in the charts, then Radio 1 would be kind of duty bound to play it kind of twice a week. That was kind of where we were. So you hear the chart that Simon said for the UK there. And for the US, now I've picked out 5 albums that were not so much in and around the top 10, but not far away. So at 43, you've got Crocus with Headhunter. I mean, they are just no profile here at all. You've got Toto 4 at 26. You've still got ZZ Top with Eliminator at 19. Then you've got Rick Springfield with Living in Oz at 15. And a final cut by Pink Floyd at 12. But the top 10 is a rock-friendly place. Okay, you've got Cuts Like a Knife by Bryan Adams at 10. You've got Prince with 1999 at number 9. And you've got Hall & Oates with H2O. You've got Kilroy Was Here at number 7 by Styx. It got that high. You've got Frontiers by Journey at number 6. Then you've got Let's Dance, David Bowie. So we do cross over, but not an awful lot. Pyromania by Def Leppard at 4. Men at Work, I like Men at Work, with Cargo at number 3. The Flashdance, the original soundtrack at number 2. And admittedly, Michael Jackson's Thriller at number 1. And yes, a lot of these albums were successful in the UK, but you would hardly ever have seen a top 10 that was as packed with genuine rock albums as that in the UK. It had a presence, but it wasn't as ubiquitous as you guys kind of had it. It was everywhere. People were into it. People knew these bands. These bands were all playing massive venues. Even, like I saw Def Leppard on the Hysteria tour. They played a theatre. You know, it was slightly...
To me, the most perplexing out of everything you listed was the fact that Def Leppard was not in your top of the charts like it was here, because that album was massive here. You know, the Def Leppard album, the Journey album, huge here, huge.
Yeah, Pyromania was big in the UK, but Hysteria was that album that brought them to the masses. Really, Pour Some Sugar on Me was the song that brought them to the masses over here. Yeah. They were known at that point, but they were still, even in the rock press, they were still viewed as that British band that had gone over to America. So they hadn't really been re-embraced at that point. They were still kind of coming back into, actually, do you know what? Yes, they are our own. We can celebrate them. They hadn't quite got there with Pyromania, even though, in my humble opinion, it's a better album than Hysteria, and High and Dry is better than both. But there you go.
Yeah. We should do a show about that.
I think we have.
Oh, okay. I don't even know what we've done now. Normally, I can't remember what we're going to do.
It's a long list.
Okay, it is a long list. Yes, it is indeed. So there we go. That's the context. That's what 1983 looked like. And I picked the same week as Simon. I went for the week starting the 5th of June. Which, I mean, it took a long time for the Holy Diver to peak in the US. It took 18 weeks for it to reach its highest point. It kind of seemed to ebb and flow in the charts for a period of time. I presume as singles came and went, I would guess. It's interesting watching albums kind of do this. You presume, as seems to be the way now, that the week of releases, when everyone goes, buy it, because we all pre-order things up.
Yeah. Some
of us do, Simon, and some of us actually receive them. Or cancel their orders, not order them.
Yeah, but you've got donkeys up there to take them to you. There's no donkeys around here.
Well, we need donkeys up here. I get all of my mail at least a day after everybody else because we're in the wilds of Scotland with wildcats. But anyway, let's talk about Dio, will we?
Oh, who's going first? Is it me, as always?
Yes.
If you'd like to.
You can point like that, Pete, but I'm up here.
Oh, I don't know where you are. I'll point every which way. Here we go.
Right. So, I like this album very, 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 very much. I'm prepared to say it's a classic. I'm not going to be the contrarian this week. I'm really not. I find it really quite difficult to to rank, certainly 7 onwards. I really did, and I like all of them. But something's got to give, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So let's do it. Let's leap in there. My 9 is Invisible. I like how at the start he doesn't sound like Dio when he's doing the quiety bits at the start. But what I've tried to do is kind of tease out moments in each of these songs that make me go, "Oh yeah, this is why I like that song." In the palace of the Virgin lies the chalice of the soul. It's likely you might find the answer there. Excuse me, Fnar. Tremendous. Yeah. How old is Ronnie at this point? Yeah.
Really
But,
do we ever officially know that? I don't think we ever do.
I don't know. And do you know, it pains me to put it at number 9, but there are only 9 tracks on it, so I couldn't put it at 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever. It's a really good record. I think it's a pivotal record of the genre, isn't it? There's no, somebody said when we announced we were doing this, am I the only person that finds Holy Diver to be a bit meh? Well, yeah. I mean, clearly not, because you know what, we all hear things differently, don't we? But it's an important record, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's great. It's really great. Anyway, my 8 is Shame on the Night. God, my writing is absolutely terrible. I love the drums on this. I love the drums on this. Oh no, it's number 8. Oh well, such is life, though. Hey, I think he must have been played by an octopus or something, but certainly not Vinny Appice. It's if he tried to do that on a modern record, they would have said, "Vinny, door, off you go. You're probably not quite in time. You're playing over other things. But that's that's what music used to be like. It used to be like people felt what they were playing and what they were kind of listening to, didn't it? And now everything's just so clearly, you've got your little mouse there and you're dropping stuff in and taking bits out that aren't absolutely perfect. And I think throughout this, Vinny Appice is great. I really do. Yeah. So, I feel terrible putting those 2 at 9 and 8.
Sometimes did everybody listen to Shame on the Night at the end and keep going back and trying to figure out what the fuck is Ronnie saying there? Dive. What? Diver, right? What?
Who knows? Who knows? There you go. Right. So I'm going to talk a little more about this thing. What a great cover. Okay, it is such a great cover. And yes, according to Ronnie, it's open to interpretation. It's not necessarily the evil that you see and all this kind of stuff. But it's perfect for the record, isn't it? It sets a tone. It tells you what's going to be inside. It's one of those album covers that as soon as you saw this, you were like, yeah, I know exactly what's going to be inside of this. And it's exactly what's inside of this. And I like that. But it's worth looking at the inner bag as well. This is great. This little montage of all these little bits, and you've got all the bands. And back in the day where somebody actually had to cut around their hairstyles and things to fit them all on this. And then you've got rainbows and you've got bits of Sabbath and various things. You know that this is it's really not all from Dio in inverted commas. And you think these days they'd probably sued for all this kind of stuff. I love it. It really kind of sets you up with a bit of history before you even put the needle on the record. I just think it's a great thing. I love it. And every time you look at it, it kind of makes you smile, or a little kind of smiles between the band members and all this kind of stuff. Love it. Anyway, off at a tangent. Number 9. It is Invisible. Yeah, it is for me too. And I'll echo what Simon has just mentioned there. It's something has to go bottom. We're ranking the songs. I like everything on this album. It's just strong from start to finish. It flows really well. And as always, you come in and listen to things in isolation and you think, well, I have to put something bottom. So you start to look for reasons for why you have to justify why it's, in inverted commas, my least favourite song on this album. And it comes down to little things like this is one of the very few songs where I kind of go, sounds a bit like LA Connection. There's a little bit of LA Connection, that and it's just kind of there, and it's one of the very few songs, although clearly we're harking to Sabbath and Rainbow and all that kind of stuff, we're playing to strength here. It's the only one where I kind of go, oh, is that little bit of, no, it's gone now. But that and the you can be invisible. I don't like that bit so much. There's no real need for that for such a great singer. There are some odd little inflections on this album, some which are classic and some which are in this song. And that really is what it comes down to. Is it's little things like that where you go, don't like that 5 seconds. That just pulls it down ever so slightly. And yeah, it's a bit of a mid-pace stomper. And much though the album needs that, because you can't just have them all upbeat and in your face. Talk about them in isolation, and you end up with that and Shame of the Night at number 8, because it's another one that's kind of mid-paced. It's one of them that kind of boils instead of, really, really explodes. It's a bit grinding, it's a bit more subdued, it's moody, that organ part in it, for some kind of light, some sort of darkness. It's another one, it's kind of rainbow-like in its construction, and just kind of the atmosphere sense. But what a snarling vocal. Ronnie is just off the charts good at this stage. He's off the charts good all the way through. Whether the albums were great or whether they were just okay, he was off the charts good all the time. We're at track 8 here, and I'm struggling to tell you why they're falling so low because I like them all so much. So that's my bottom 2.
Yeah, this is a classic album for me. And I probably told this story a lot, but when they announced that Ronnie and Vinny had left Sabbath, I was pretty devastated because it was my favorite band at the time. But then, within a few months, this kind of comes out, Born Again comes out, Deep Purple's like my number 2 band, and I'm like, well, Dio's got this great new album. The Born Again album is like the meeting of Sabbath and Purple. I'm already all not that upset anymore. So I'm a happy camper. And I listened to this album a ton. Like I said, I saw him on this tour. I remember going to college in the fall of '84, and, all the metalheads I gravitated towards, new friends that I made, everybody listened to this. I remember I met these two girls who lived upstairs from me, and they were like, oh yeah, you saw Dio at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie. Yeah, I saw that tour. Yeah, I got a VIP pass. I met the band, and I had sex with Vivian Campbell, the guitar player, that night. And I'm like, wow, okay, alrighty then. Nice to meet you. It's like, whatever. Yeah. But these are, this is the early mid 80s, right? The groupie days, right? And she was totally one of those type of people. I was like, oh, all right, whatever. But I digress. Yeah, great album cover. Yes.
As I did my little cough thing though, muted it, I coughed over it, and I thought you were talking about yourself then.
No.
Imagine when you got to the end of that anecdote.
No, it was not me. No.
Okay, just checking.
Talking about a woman that I knew in college who would always tell this story about her and Vivian Campbell. I was like she would just drop that, like, oh yeah, it's like, whatever, okay. Anyway, I am also going to go with Invisible at number 9. To me, the only song on this album that borders on kind of predictable, sort of generic heavy metal stomp, right? It's not terrible. I like it. It's just, to me, there's like a divide between this and all the other songs on there. I do like it. It's good. Number 8, this was tough. The bottom couple for me were tough because like I said, I do really like all these songs. And I remember at the time here, amongst all the people that I knew who loved this album, Caught in the Middle was generally by most people looked at as one of the worst songs on the album. I've always really liked it. It was a song at this band that I was in for a brief period in time, back around that time. We played Caught in the Middle and we played Rainbow in the Dark. And Caught in the Middle is a fun song to play on guitar, and it's very different from the rest of the album. It's very melodic, very upbeat. It's got different types of chording and whatnot for Vivian. I still think it's really good. It's really catchy. But, this is an album with some heavy hitters on it. And at number 8, it may sound like it's really low, but it's really good. Everything's got to go somewhere, right? So, ask me next week, I could rank it a little higher. And over the years, I have ranked it higher because I grew so fond of it, having to play it back in the day. But yeah, it's still really good. So Invisible and Caught in the Middle are my 9 and 8.
Okay. everything else from here has moved up and down all the time because this has been in the planning for quite a while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'll probably never listen to this album again after this. I've listened to it that much because it's Stephen, don't do that. It's been months and months, hasn't it? It's been a long time.
Yeah,
You know,
but that's a bold statement.
I know. You know, and I know that given that we may rank the albums of Dio at some point, I'm going to have to, aren't we? So, moving along. My 7 is Gypsy, or as I like to call it, Gypsy Queen. Oh yeah, I just awesome when he does that. It's just so fantastic, and the intro, intro, yeah, oh, fantastic, super chugging metal. She's straight from hell, but you never can tell. It's just such a 70s, 80s lyric, isn't it? Eh? Yeah, I mean, these days it'd be called member of the traveling community or something, wouldn't it? Rather than gypsy. Really, it really would. And do you know what? There was a point last week where I couldn't not be singing this song. I was walking around, you know, you get an earworm, and it was this song, Gypsy Queen. Oh, you know, it makes sense. Eh? There you go. Tick that off, everyone. I've said it. My 6 is Straight Through the Heart. The eyes that let you go down. I think that's the thing about Dio, isn't he? He produces these moments of magnificence. You know, you think, oh God, that is such a great way to sing that. Such a great vocal melody, such a great line, such character. You know what I mean? It's such. There really has been nobody else like him, has there? You know, there really. But I can imagine if you walked up in somebody in the street and said, "Oh, Dio," the average person in the street would go, yeah.
And what is that?
And yeah, you know, for people like us, he's got that kind of like godlike status, hasn't he? And rightly so. Yeah, and I realised quite a while ago, but it's never really stopped me. You know, when I can be asked to write reviews, I very, very often say that something is muscular like Dio. You know, and I mean that in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, none of this fannying around with Dio, is there? There really isn't. You know, he's just kind of manly metal, isn't it? You know, he's toning it down. It's, you know, it's not Manowar manly metal. No. It's just, you know, manly metal. You know, delivered in a no shit kind of no shit kind of way, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, Tim.
It's not macho metal. It's manly metal.
Yes.
Macho. It's all about, you know, pecs and oiling and loincloths and hair. Dio just, you know, gets on with it.
Maybe not quite testosterone metal, right? We did talk about
Yes.
Hudson Valley Squares the other night. Yeah, it's not quite.
It's not being masculine or manly for the sake of it. It's just what it is, you know. So yeah, anyhow, I have none. We can move on.
Well, my number 7. It's funny because I mean the bottom 2 for me are the bottom 2. Okay, the rest of this is my top 7 now. Is the way that I viewed this. None of this is now near the bottom. This just happens to be the top 7. We're working up. That's what we're doing. But I'm going for Straight Through the Heart. It's another side 2 track. I didn't realise how much I favoured side 1 until I came to do this. And it's one of those things that I think this is a great album from start to finish. I'll stand by that. I will always think this. Man, oh man, does it hit you early on? But we'll get there. I just think there's the band are so good here. I mean, we all go about Ronnie and how great he is. And I mean, his inflection, he doesn't sing straight through the heart. He really does snarl. It's like there's hardly even words there, but you know what he says. If you were just to read the lyrics to these songs and you'd never heard them, you couldn't imagine what he's going to sing it like. Do you know, it's not like reading the lyrics and there's lots of great singers out there that then just go sing them. Ronnie lifts them. He imbues them with this kind of fiction fantasy nonsense, for want of a better turn of phrase, but when you put it into the song, wow. But the band are so good. I mean, I'm at my number 7 here, okay, and the howling guitars from Vivian Campbell in this song, just phenomenal. I mean, it still knocks you sideways now, and it's just so impactful for a guy that really very few people had known anything about it at this point. It really was, wow, who is this guy? But as Simon's already mentioned, I mean, there are fills from Vinny Appice on this album. And he's not like using it, he did have a ginormous kit, but he's not like expanding around every, but the speed of them, the velocity with which he's doing some of these fills is just phenomenal. And then the song's got a middle eight it's really cool. It offers up a little bit of kind of melodic counterpoint to the kind of heavier part of the song. Good songwriting. It sounds really good. I'm at number 7 and I'm just about wetting myself. Number 6, it's Gypsy Queen. But it's got a great groove. It has got a great groove. It's not quite as unrelenting as some of the songs on this album, and it does offer a cool kind of change of focus in the middle of side 1. It's the only one of the side 1 tracks to me that when you do them, wow, when you do them in this kind of isolation, that I think, okay, this deserves to be in the bottom half. But same again, there's another really full-on solo. And Jimmy Bain just holds, because Vivian Campbell's allowed to go and dart about and do all these things, it's really important that your bassist goes, I'm going to hold it all together while you're doing that, mate. So, you know, you could go do what you want, and nobody's going to go, it's kind of a bit loose now, because he's just so on it, absolutely unbelievably on it. Do you know, and the same again, Ronnie is so versatile. There's less snarling here, do you know, and he's doing a different thing, and he still sounds as natural as the day is long doing it. So yeah, track 6 is Gypsy for me. 7 is Straight to the Heart, and I'm in the territory where I love these songs already.
Yeah, well, let's reverse that. My number 7 is Gypsy. Great song. I agree with everything you said about this track, both of you. Man, Vivian just kills it on these songs. All these little pinch harmonics and little squeals he does through all these songs. You know, there's a reason why my good friend Butch Jones always claims how this album and Vivian Campbell specifically changed his life as far as appreciating guitar players and wanting to kind of play this type of thing. Because I mean, this guy is like, it's kind of sad to think that like so much of the most memorable Vivian Campbell work is on these first 2 or 3 Dio albums, and he's had this long career afterwards that's just not as impactful as this. I mean, he just came out and grabbed you by the throat, and Gypsy's a fun song. And you know, too, it's like how much of this album could have been the next Black Sabbath album to follow Mob Rules? Good amount of it. You know, yeah, throw Tony Iommi into the mix, right? And then it's going to be a little different, but I could see half of this album being Sabbath songs easily, right? Number 6 is Straight Through the Heart. I mean, man, that opening riff. It's just amazing. And I love the ending, man. It's just so like, you just picture Ronnie in the studio, you know, and you make that face, you hear it, it's like, it's just so good. Chorus is great, the ending is good. That rampage from Viv at the end, just amazing. So yeah, Straight Through the Heart. Well, Gypsy and Straight Through the Heart are my number 7 and 6, and this is great. So it pains me to put any of this down in the lower half, but it's what else can you do, right? You can't do a 9-way tie for number 1 because that doesn't work, right? So, all right, Simon, number 5.
Number 5. Oh God, this is where it gets really, really difficult. But just for once, I'm going to stick with what I actually wrote earlier today. My 5 is Rainbow in the Dark. Yes, I'm going for it at 5, which is interesting because I wholeheartedly love Rainbow in the Dark with every tiny little bit of my being. I love the keys so much. And then I read the other day that Ronnie and Jimmy played the keys, and they're not that prevalent because I thought they were a bit shit, but they're absolutely perfect on this song. And the bit where he says Rainbow in the Dark and then go, do you not just go when you do that? Do you not just want to do that? I do. You know, even when I'm walking the dog or whatever it is I'm doing, I'm just going, oh, hello neighbor, that sort of thing. You just got to do that stuff. Oh, I feel terrible putting it down. Well, what a tune! And I'd like just to take a minute to talk about the video for Rainbow in the Dark. I love the way that Ronnie's played by Rhea Perlman from Cheers. That's fantastic. So Ronnie's on the top of a big building overlooking an embankment in London, And then at some point, Vivian and Jimmy turn up, randomly playing bass and guitar with this weird woman on this. It's just cuckoo, cuckoo, absolutely heart stand. Don't you think? What's going on? What is going on? And why sometimes does Ronnie look like he's not actually on top of that building, and sometimes he looks like he is? I mean, I appreciate video technology in that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
it is a terrible video. I have long thought that wow, Ronnie looks awful in this video. Yeah, you nailed it, 100%.
By terrible, of course, you mean absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, of course.
In its terribleness, yes. I'll have more to say on videos when I discuss Holy Diver, which is clearly going to be later on. But Rainbow in the Dark, it kills me to put it at 5. My 4 is God's in the Middle. Yeah, because that's how it sounds. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. So very, very melodic and quite poppy. And you thought, oh, there's a potential single. Probably not. Well, good job I wasn't A&R, isn't it, for Vertigo, really, to be fair. But, there you go. So caught in the middle, just like you've always been, because you're an outsider. We're all outsiders. Ronnie knew that shit. We were either dragons or outsiders. Those are your options. Thanks for writing it. Yeah. Just such a really, really good pop song, really, dressed up in a metal style. And you know that your Uncle Simon likes that stuff. So it should be further up, but it isn't.
If I could say, if either of you decide to drink Guinness on this program again, bring 2.
I don't think I've ever drunk Guinness on this program.
No,
I have.
If I do it again, I will bring 2 because we're like halfway through, and I'm like,
Got some alcohol-free Guinness outside that somebody gave me. Let me just think about the point of that.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I think you'll find the point of that is 0.0, Simon.
And I will say the coffee stout is really good. I'm not a coffee guy. It's got this caramel flavor that I love. So Simon knows.
I don't know.
I was just trying not to say coffee for the second week on the trot. Shit.
I don't drink coffee, but I do like that beer.
Somebody speak about Dio, please.
Okay, so my number 5 is Caught in the Middle. Yeah, absolutely. Simon, as always, has hit the nail on the head. I like the clean vocal in this. I like the way he holds those long notes. This is less about kind of barking things out. It's less about the kind of evil stuff. It's more melodic. It's catchy. It should have been a single, but then again, they tried out a mystery off the next album and everyone went, don't really like that. I do. But it does illustrate the kind of diversity that's going on here. At first glance, it doesn't feel like it's got an awful lot of kind of those little nuances, but it does. It's a really good song, and as has already been said, it's catchy as hell. Really is, really catchy. Number 4 for me is Holy Diver. Okay, I mean, it has to be Holy Diver. Jump. There's those little bits and there's those little bits here that, I mean, just kind of, yeah, I know it feels wrong to have this solo. I get that. It's not just the bedrock of this album, it's the bedrock of the Dio band, and I absolutely get that, but I just love other songs even more than this song, if that's possible. I think when you think about Dio, you think about Holy Diver, both the album and the song, and I absolutely take that on the chin. People will go, he's got it number 4. This is absolutely ubiquitous with this album. It's all about this. It's the title track. It's what people think about. I just love other songs just a smidge more than this. That doesn't stop it from being utterly brilliant. It's utterly brilliant. It is so important to everything that's going on in rock and metal right at this point, and for the next 40 years, I would suggest. There were bands out there trying to capture this moment, recapture this sound, be Ronnie James Dio. Nobody could. Many tried, some came close. They were all just copyists. This is what it was all about, and it stems from this song and this album. And yes, people, I've put it at number 4.
Bold choice, Steven. Okay, right. That's fine. That's fine. My number 5. Shame, shame on you. Shame on the Night. Number 5. I love it because to me, that's probably one of the most Sabbathy songs on the album, and we all know how much I love Black Sabbath. So yeah, Shame on the Night is great. It's a great album closer. It's just I love it. It's dark and heavy and plotting, and I like all those things. So, and my number 4 is the opposite of that. Let's go with Rainbow in the Dark. Yes, at number 4, people. I like Rainbow in the Dark. It's not one of my favorite Dio songs. It's his biggest hit here. It's even a hit, whatever. But what I always thought was weird. I think Rainbow in the Dark is a great outlier on this album. I wish they would have just kind of left that for this album and not try to replicate that on albums to come afterwards. Because I agree, like Mystery is like them trying to catch lightning in the bottle again. I'm like, Rainbow in the Dark is great for what it is. Leave it alone. We don't need a clone of it. But I think it's great. It's catchy. I agree with Simon. I think that little synthy thing going on there totally works. It's simple. The riff is good. The guitar solo is epic, right? It's really, really good. So yeah, it's number 4, Rainbow in the Dark. Shame on the Night, number 5.
Okay. 3 and 2. Going to keep it as I've written it down. I can do this. Right. 3, Don't Talk to Strangers. Danger. How do we say that word, kids? There's only one way to say that word, isn't there? Yes, Stephen?
No, I need you to tell me.
Danger! 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 Yeah, that's the key thing. His vocals elevate everything. It's all great. The playing on this album is exemplary by everyone, but the vocals just lift everything to that other level. And what happens if you talk to strangers? What will they do? They'll only bring you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that's the kind of old school metal Pete that I like, and that's what a tune. Why is he not number 1? I don't know, because something
Could very well be.
Could be, yeah. My 2 is Stand Up and Shout. Oh Christ, I love this song. Why is this not number 1?
One of the great album openers of all time.
Very much so. You've got desire. Yes.
So let it out.
Frankly, how can you ever say the word desire in any other way? No matter what meeting you're in or who you're presenting shit, so just say the word desire. You've got to, and you've got the power.
The power,
What although I often say, I'm listening to music while I'm driving, because I have quite
getting into this or what? Holy shit!
Quite a drive to. Quite a drive to work. I often say to myself, "You are the driver. Come on, Simon." I'm sure that's what Lewis Hamilton must do at the start of every. You own the road. He must do, mustn't it? It's the most Dio-y thing of all time. It's more Dio-y than a very, very Dio-y thing of, just what a tune. Stand Up and Shout. Yes, Doom.
Oh no, I'm standing up and shouting.
You wasted. Excellent. Sorry, I thought you were making a point.
Stand up and shout. Yeah.
It's as if they thought, and Pete's right. Right, I'm going to show the world I've just left Black Sabbath, and I've got my shit together. Let's open with possibly the greatest opening song of all time. It's just stand up and shout. Oh God, it's not number 1. Yes, Stu. Oh right, I'm going to do that all the time while you're speaking. I'm going to do that. Oh, yeah, but yeah.
Oh man, can you tell how glorious this fucking album is? Jesus.
You've just taken me right back to my first gig, and I've told this story before when we talked about shows from the late 80s. And this was my first gig. It was at the Edinburgh Playhouse, which is an old theatre, and we had got really shit tickets. We were right at the back of the stalls. So when Ronnie shouted, "Stand up and shout," and I went, "Yeah!" I punched the ceiling in front of me, above me. Man, did it hurt. Oops. It was left hand only after that all night.
Yeah.
Anyway, my number 3, yeah, I'm a simple guy at heart. Do you know, this album is all about crunching guitars, stupendous vocals. Give me a big cheesy keyboard hook and I'm a happy lad. Now, admittedly, Rainbow in the Dark also has crunching guitars, a stupendous solo, and a killer rhythm section and peerless vocals. But I'm here for it's just so good. It's so catchy. It's really clever songwriting. It is so simple. It is so, and it's so damn well out of place on the album. There's nothing else that's that kind of bright, and even the more melodic and mellower songs, they still have a kind of foreboding, and it still kind of has that feel. And then suddenly there's this. I'm here for that. And when this album stops playing, that is what, as you would say in Scotland, that's what keeps burling round in my head. For days on end, I'm love it. So that's my number 3. My number 2 is Don't Talk to Strangers. Do you know? I mean, Ronnie isn't, but Murray is. Is he drowning a priest? Is he saving a priest? Is he? Who knows? This guy's going down. Down. Okay. But Ronnie's a wholesome chap. He's looking out for me. He's a bit like the Green Cross Code Man of metal. Do you know, really, there's always that kind of positive message behind it. You know, he's talking about evil and the devil and
The Green Cross Code Man was really fucking tall.
well, I've met David Prowse. Yes, he was.
He was really tall.
Ronnie's very tall. Yeah, I mean, figuratively speaking, Ronnie James Dio was also really tall. He was a giant amongst men.
Yes. That he was. Yes,
there you go.
Physically, along with Freddie Mercury, not a tall man.
Yes, but I do believe that given the opportunity, he too would have helped young children across the road.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And he would make sure that they wouldn't talk to strangers.
He would.
I mean, there's lots going on in the lyric, to be fair. Do you know, is Ronnie the stranger? Are we the stranger? Do you know, should you just not trust anybody? Is there a demon? Is there a devil? It's all about inner turmoil. Just don't talk to strangers, kids. Just don't do that. But either way, Ronnie, he's howling, he's barking, he's snapping, he's snarling. And there's also some kind of strange effects at some points on his vocals too. But it all really works. Do you know, there are so many heavy metal songs out there now that do this. They kind of do this stuff. But this was before it was kind of done. It's interesting to talk about Sabbath and where they went. Born Again, some people love it, some people hate it. I like the album a lot. But I would suggest that this is where Sabbath should have been heading. Ronnie knew where to go. This sounds much more 83 than Sabbath were at this point. He saw where it was going. He worked out a path, so much so that people copy that sound. We go back and kind of say, yeah, but they copy Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules. So many bands were looking for the Dio sound from the first 2 Dio albums. Do you know? That's my take on it anyway. I also think the guitar solo in this song sounds remarkably like J.K. Lee. There's a real kind of J.K. Lee kind of Aussie Bark at the Moon kind of feel to the solo. J.K. Lee was with Ronnie for a nanosecond before this lineup got together. True. You do have to wonder if somebody kind of went, Vivian, that sounds really good just right here. It's the only time when I listen to this and think, that's not just Vivian Campbell there that I'm hearing. I'm hearing something else. Really like the guitar solo. It's really, really good. But yeah, as I've said before, it's the unit. It's the absolute unit that is working here. Everyone works in tandem. Nobody oversteps the mark. Everyone knows what they're made to be doing. And it's just such a strong band. And songs like these just absolutely exemplify that. It's just bang on the money in every way. And the production for a guy just, set up his own band, bringing all his own people. He had the vision, he had the sound, he had it all. Because this album still sounds great. That's me.
Great. My number 3. Don't dream of women, because they'll only bring you down. A couple of years after Ronnie died, they put together a little tour, a tribute to Dio. I don't even remember what it was called. Anyway, Tim Ripper Owens and Toby Jepson sang. And I remember when they played this song, I saw them at the Chance in Poughkeepsie. The place went berserk for this song. Absolutely batshit crazy for this song. Because I think this song has really resonated with people over the years, especially after Ronnie passed away. Don't Talk to Strangers is great. Could be a number one or too easy. It's that good. To me, the top three are like just legendary. And number two is Stand Up and Shout. Man. Just it's just amazing. And Ryan, what a way to start off an album full of piss and vinegar and this hotshot young guitar player. Just like it doesn't get any better. Doesn't get any better. Doesn't get any better. Yeah, that's my 3 and 2. Legend. We've said so much about him already. I don't know how much more I could say. So yeah, it's great.
Dio Disciples.
That's exactly what it was. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It was really great.
Yeah.
Greg Goldie played guitar. My buddy Chris Caffrey got up and played with them for a couple songs. They did all sorts of stuff from Ronnie's career, and it was just great. But man, when they played "Don't Talk to Strangers," everybody went bananas because there's something emotional about that song, that just kind of gets you. Yeah, so good, so good. Anyway, Simon, talk about the title track, will you please?
I feel as though shit. No, I've got it right, haven't I? Holy Diver, that's my favorite. Yes, indeed. Okay. I just wish, that Dio was more like Steve Overland and that he could start every song off with a yeah, for the rest of his career after that. Because I'm in from there, you know what I mean? I really am. Just what a tune. It's just such a great tune. It's absolutely, completely and utterly iconic, despite the fact you think, really, what? Ride the tiger, you can see his stripes, but he's clean. Oh, can't you see what I mean? No, not really. No. I've got a degree in a postgraduate. I'm not fucking sure what you're on about there, Ronnie, lad. No. Yeah, you all thought I was thick, didn't you? But I'm not. Yeah, wow. But it doesn't matter. So sung with such utter conviction, and it's such a great tune. It's just absolutely era defining for me. It really is. And who wouldn't want shiny diamonds? Who wouldn't? Who just wouldn't want those? You don't want your diamonds to be a bit shitty, do you? Yeah, come on, shine those diamonds for me, fellas. Come on. What a tune! One of the greatest metal tunes of all time. And a deserved number one from, I think, two of us that have got, the right idea. Stephen, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts is that you're both right. That's my thoughts.
There's no wrong here. Yeah, exactly.
There's no wrong. Thank you. There you go. Yes, absolutely. There's absolutely no wrong. And that's why I've gone for Stand Up and Shout. Because it's so good. It is so good. I mean, the urgency in this song, there's almost anger in this song. That's what kind of seems to be at the heart of it. What a way to start an album. I mean, how can that not grab your attention? It is such a kind of a mark in the ground to say, this is what we're going to do here. This is what it's all about. And those quick fire snare fills, they're just ridiculous. And then you've got Vivian Campbell. He's just off the hook here. I mean, he'll tell you himself, he has gone on record as saying this, that he's wasted in Def Leppard, and that's why he's also, I'm sure he loves being in the band, but he goes out the last in line, because he wants to be playing this stuff that does and did challenge him, because that's how good he is. And I was fortunate enough to see that band before they started recording their own stuff, which is pretty decent, as to be said, with Andrew Freeman on vocals in a very, very
local guy here. Yep.
Yep. And to see the classic lineup, obviously, without Ronnie, unfortunately, in a very small room was such a privilege. It really was such a privilege to see there was a few hundred people just being steamrolled by these songs. It was just absolutely incredible. And this song is as powerful now as it was right back in 1983. It is just a winner from start to finish. And I am a great believer that you should try and put your best song right at the front of an album. So, so much, I believe there's so much of my eyes appear to be going all funny here. Oh, black. I'm all good now. That's fine. It's all clicked
That
in.
was weird. I didn't move or anything.
Simon started to go out of focus.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yes. He
Yeah,
was
drink
going
that Guinness too quickly, didn't you?
yeah, I guess so.
Yes, there you go. He managed to focus himself again. Yeah, I mean, I know that I'm wrong. I understand that I'm wrong, and Holy Diver is way too low on my list. I'll stand by being wrong because I just love Stand Up and Shout. It's just a song that means so much to me. It's just fantastic. Yeah, love it, love it, love it, love it. Phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing, right? I mean, shit, it was my number two. Yeah, my number one is the title track, of course. I have loved the song Holy Diver from the minute I first heard this album. I like the fact that it's a little longer. I like that Ronnie and the band take you through all these little changes throughout the song. I love the opening riff in its simplicity is just so great. And man, I love the guitar solo. Talk about taking the listener through this little 25-second journey. And it's like it's slow, it's snaking, and then it's fast at the end. There's little pinch harmonic squeals and all this. He throws everything into the picture, and it's just like, wow, where did this kid come from? Just love it. Love the last minute of the song. It's just love his vocals. Just adore it. To me, Holy Diver would have been also a great Black Sabbath song, I think. And it's just so good. This is just such a great album. It's funny because, like, I've talked many times, and I did a ranking here on the channel. I've had conversations with Martin Popoff and whatnot about like the best Dio album, and I get that a lot of people love Last in Line, and then there's been a few others in the catalog that I know people dig a lot. I just, man, for me, there is Holy Diver, and then there's everything else, and I love a lot of his other albums, but man, this album to me is just so good, so good.
Do we just have a minute to once again contemplate the promotional video for Holy Diver by Manowar? What the fuck? He kills that blacksmithy kind of guy without touching him.
It's the best way.
Well, yeah, exactly. But he's doing that thing. Like, oh, I've been stabbed. Oh, but he didn't touch me. Oh, what the? That's crazy. Weird.
Yeah, they had about a budget of whatever it cost for dinner that night to make that video, I think. Yeah.
Really did. Yeah, tremendous. Well worth a watch.
Yeah, or a rewatch because how many people forgot like how bad that video is? It's just
It's interesting, Pete, because you've done a few shows on the channel about great album runs from bands. What a great album run from Ronnie James Dio. From Rainbow right the way through to here. I mean, there's not a foot put wrong, is there? It's just incredible. Studio albums from the start of Rainbow through to now.
Rising, Long Live Rock and Roll, Heaven and Hell, Mob Rules, this album, Last in Line, Sacred Heart and on that gets debatable, right? But
Dream Evil's back on point as well.
I like Dream Evil a lot. I think Dream Evil is great. Yeah, I prefer Dream Evil to Sacred Heart personally today. I never used to say that, but I do now. And I think Lock Up the Wolves is great. I like a bunch of those other really heavy albums in the 90s. I don't have an issue with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying we should do a ranking of this band at some point, so let's not go too deep.
Yeah, let's not get too far into the weeds. So
it's a really strong catalogue, but that run from the Rainbow debut through to now to Last in Line, it's just, I mean, there's not a foot put wrong. There's not a bad song.
No,
those albums.
No, there's not. Good. There's not.
Crazy good, and he's just outstanding all of them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's where he, I think, really solidified his place in this history of metal with all of us in that run, so they'll never be forgotten. So, of course, everybody watching, as hard as this looked for us, of course, we're asking you all to do the same thing down in the comments below. So rank the songs on this album, deconstruct this album in the order of your preference. I know it's hard. These exercises are not meant to be easy, but that's your assignment. Do that below. And Steven, you want to give everybody a little preview of what to expect 2 weeks from today?
Well, yes, we're going to go about face because right here in my hand I have a classic album cover. It says everything about the album. It's phenomenal. It's memorable. It's got a mascot. It's got a logo. Iconic. So we're going to talk about our bottom five, top five, least favorite shitty album covers. Is what we're going to do. So that's what's coming up in 2 weeks' time. Think about those really shit covers that just deserve to be lambasted, because that's what we're going to do.
There's
Just
lots.
the covers. The music might be brilliant.
Yes, it's just about
Just the covers. Yep.
yeah, just about this. You'd be even better if it's a great album that the cover is just utter pants. Yeah.
Yep. Although we might have some where the covers are
Oh,
total shit and the albums are total shit.
It's all about how shit the artwork is. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, we're only talking about the artwork here, so yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or indifferent on the actual thing that goes round and round.
That's right. That's right. This will be fun. This will be fun.
Yeah.
I love doing the album cover shows. So we're not only are we doing that here, we're also doing the Hudson Valley Squares in a little bit. We're also doing those album covers that totally blew our minds, and then the music lived up to that initial wow, look at that. So yeah, album cover shows are always fun to do every so often. That's people seem to dig it because it just goes to show you how important that album cover is to your perception of the album, to you wanting to buy the album. You know, it's interesting because I guess it's hard for people who maybe are living in the digital age and the physical aspect of music doesn't really mean all that much anymore. But to all of us who have lived this for most of our lives, it's that album cover means a lot, carries a lot of weight. And sometimes when I'm to blame. And again, I don't want to talk too much. We'll talk about it in the next episode. But the days where you go through the record stores and you're looking through the racks of records and you're like, oh, that album cover is awful. Cool band name, but and you just go right past it because you're like, but when you see something like, whoa, look at that. I have no idea what this band sounds like. I'm buying it because that cover is dynamite. So.
Yeah, well, we're talking about the days when you used to, as they called it, buy albums blind.
Yes,
you would
quite
see
a lot actually
in the racks and think, this has to come home with me because it's just so damn cool.
It's so metal. I gotta buy it. It's so metal. Gotta buy it.
Yeah. And sometimes they most definitely were not this when you brought them home. And there you go. That was the risk you took. Those days are gone because it's all about pre-orders and 75 songs that come out before the actual 10-track album comes out and all this kind of stuff. So I miss the days of going through and stumbling across the odd gem and not, as the case may be, from the cover.
Yeah, for sure. You know, growing up, I remember like when Steve Keeler first opened up Rock Fantasy, I would go in there and I was a college kid. I had limited funds, right? And I'd be like, all right, Steve, I got $25. What do you got? And he would show me like 3 or 4 albums. Oh, this came in. This is this band from Japan, this whatever. And I'd be like, I know I can't afford all of them. And I'd look at them all and I'm like, all right, the 2 with the best covers are coming home with me. And that's what I would do. That's what I would do. That cover shit. I don't know who the band is. I'm not buying it. So yeah. That's what we did back then. So anyway, tune in 2 weeks from today for more of this discussion. So till then, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Till next time, for Simon Bray and Steven Reid, I am Pete Pardo. Bring more Guinness next time, someone please, and help a poor soul out. And we'll see you then. For the UK Connection, I'm Pete Pardo. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.